Chapter 3543. Charlie also did not mean to scare Changfeng. Before today, he originally wanted to kill Joseph and Changfeng together. Only, he changed his mind after Joseph went up Waiteresque Mountain. He knew that Joseph was too arrogant, but at least he still had a filial heart for his parents and righteousness for his comrades. He changed his mind and wanted to take Joseph and the entire cataclysmic front for himself, thinking that he was bound to go to Europe and America in the future and had to have a strong enough team. Since Joseph has become part of his team, killing Changfeng, the old man, is not very meaningful, so it is better to force him to give way to Jiu from now on to completely solve the Su family's big problem. Charlie believes in Ziyu's character, and also believes in her ability. He can let her sit in the position of the family head. She will be able to take care of things inside and outside the family. At that time, the Su family will no longer be the Wade family's enemy, but Charlie's ally. Changfeng also penetrated Charlie's thoughts. His mind completely calmed down, looked at Jiu and said seriously, "Jiu, Mr. Wade is right, there is really no one in the entire Su family more suitable than you to sit in this position. I will finish all the formalities as soon as possible, and put the affairs of Su family into your hands completely. The fate of the Su family will depend on you to lead." Jiu hesitated for a moment and spoke, "Grandpa, I understand." After saying that, she looked at Charlie and said reverently and firmly, "Please rest assured, my benefactor, I will do my best." Charlie nodded slightly and said, "In that case, then let's wait until the formalities are signed later today." After saying that, Charlie also looked at Xin and spoke, "And you, as I said before, this time at Qingming I'll let you back, in addition to kowtowing in front of my parents and pass the confession. You will also complete all the divorce procedures with Aunt Du. Later today I will also let people prepare the relevant documents to take to you to sign." Xin has long known that this marriage between himself and Leona, it is impossible to undo. And with Charlie here to exert pressure, it was impossible to drag it out. So, he nodded decadently and blurted out, "Okay. I'll sign." After saying that, he asked Charlie with an expectant face, "Mr. Wade, you said at first, as long as Jiu sits in the Su family head position within 3 years, let me come back. Now she will soon inherit the Su family. It is time to let me come back, right?" Charlie nodded and said, "I did say that at first. It's fine if you want to come back, but in order to avoid any interference with Ziyu's next decision, even if you come back, you have to be monitored by me and the location has to be decided by me." Xin cried and said, "Mr. Wade, you, this is a bit inappropriate. You clearly said before, as long as Jiu became the head of the family, then let me go free." Charlie said in a cold voice, "You do not forget who made this matter of Jiu becoming the head of the family possible." Chapter 3544. After saying that, he added, "Since you want to bite the bullet with me, it doesn't matter." Charlie then looked at Changfeng and said lightly, "When Elder Su signs the relevant documents this time, he will change the overall system of the Su family. By the way, in the future Jiu is not the head of Su family, but the chairman of the Su group." How dare Changfeng disobeys Charlie, he hurriedly said, "No problem. No problem. Anyway, from the legal level, the title of the family head does not stand up. What really stands up is the chairmanship and the amount of voting power in the board of directors." Charlie nodded, looked at Xin, and said, "Then I'm sorry, your daughter is the chairman of the Su group this time, not the head of any Su family. So it will be hard for you to go back to Syria for a few more years, but don't worry, I will say hello to Hamid and ask him to take more special care of you." Xin trembled with fear and said, "Mr. Wade, I'm wrong. I am willing to be under residential surveillance. Even putting me under house arrest is fine with me, but don't ever let me go back to Syria again. I'm really fed up with that place." Charlie had expected him to give in and said indifferently, "Since you are willing to accept, then after the ancestral ceremony is over, you will come back to Oris Hill with me and I will arrange things for you properly." When Xin heard this, he immediately kneeled on the ground, crying and begging, "Mr. Wade, Please don't send me to the dog farm. Charlie did not speak, but casually glanced at Roma, who was standing with Ruoli, with her afterglow. Seeing that Roma's expression was very tense at this time, Charlie knew that she must still be concerned about Zin. After all, she sacrificed an arm for him and gave birth to a daughter for him. Her heart must be filled with a true love for him. Thinking of this, Charlie sighed lightly and said to Zin, "All right, I won't send you to the dog farm." After saying that, he looked at Luther and spoke, "Mr. He, after Zin goes to Oris Hill, let the He family arrange for someone to keep a watchful eye on him." Luther did not expect that Charlie had given Zin to him, and hurriedly asked him, "Mr. Wade, I wonder what all your requirements are." Charlie said indifferently, "He is after all the biological father of Jiu and Ruoli, and seeing as he has a good attitude in admitting his mistakes, I won't deliberately torture him or send him to the dog farm." When Zin heard Charlie say this, the whole person let out a long breath, and his eyes were almost tense with tears. Charlie then continued, "Just put him in the villa where you live. Just vacate a room on the ground floor for him, and his food and clothing will be taken care of by your He family, but I have a few red lines that absolutely cannot be touched." Luther hurriedly arched his hand and said, "Mr. Wade, just give me an order, I will absolutely comply." Charlie said, "First, he must not be allowed to leave the villa. Second, he must not have any contact with the outside world other than the He family, including Jiu and Ruoli." Luther immediately said respectfully, "Please rest assured, Mr. Wade, I guarantee on my head that I will never let him leave the villa, nor let him have any contact with the outside world." Zin was also completely relieved at this time. His relationship with the He family had actually been quite good all along. Roma, needless to say, when the affair with her started, it was her initiative, so Zin also cannot talk about the negative-hearted man. His relationship with the He family is actually quite good, as he is Ruoli's father and has taken care of the He family in the past. Charlie gave him to the He family, not simply want to give Zin a little sweet. The main thing is that he feels in his heart that this person, Roma, is indeed pitiful and has given a lot for Zin in her life. His main goal is to provide a good solution to the problem. Therefore, Charlie has the intention to create an opportunity for her. In the future, Zin can only be supervised by the He family, then Roma will definitely take good care of him. If Zin is really a man of the way, after divorcing Leona and going to Oris Hill under house arrest, he should treat Roma well. If he figured it out one day and decided to marry Roma, two people will live a good life, then he will definitely let him go free. Of course, these words Charlie will never say out, otherwise, Zin in order to get freedom may immediately agree to bow down to Roma with his heart in his hand. This matter, let him slowly understand. Only when he has understood, will he be free.